Hey guys, what's up? Today I want to talk to you guys about what I like about private servers, what I don't like about private servers, and what I think needs to be changed or should change to better the scene as a whole. And yeah, I would say let's just get right into it. What I like about private servers are, for example, you get stuff that you can't really get somewhere else. Like, for example, there's custom stuff like Ascension WoW, which pretty much changed the whole World of Warcraft game. Of course, you're playing World of Warcraft, but this is just completely different. Like, you don't have classes. Depending on the server you choose, you can pick and choose your abilities, or you can just flat out draft like cards. You get cards, and then you can pick and choose between the random cards you got as abilities. That's pretty cool. You have the enchantment system there, not like a normal World of Warcraft where you have just stats in Ascension WoW. You have actually whole abilities that change into other abilities or do more damage, or if you use a certain ability, then the other ability does more damage and stuff like this. So that is pretty amazing. Then you have, for example, Vanilla Plus or Turtle WoW that take the base game and then put their own twist on them, like a custom vanilla server where you pretty much have the vanilla world from World of Warcraft, but then you have certain areas that were planned to be there in the base game, but there wasn't enough time, like in the mountains between Dunmorok and the wetlands. There's a whole area which, for example, Total WoW made in a questing zone, or that they changed a bit the classes, like that they add certain things, or they streamline certain things that you don't need to put a lot of talent points into certain things, and then you can put that to something else which makes the class better, like the meme specs, so to say, like Boomkin, Feral Druid, Retribution Paladin, and so on. They actually are now viable and make sense to play. Warcraft is also an example which is working on actually changing the meta, making classes better, and generally stuff like that. Then you have the projects that just want to preserve certain World of Warcraft expansion. The most popular ones, I would say, are Vanilla World of Warcraft, the base game, the Burning Crusade, that was the second expansion, and then Wrath of the Lich King. This was the third expansion, as you know, and those, in my opinion, are the more popular ones, expansion-wise. There are also, of course, Cataclysm servers. Mists of Pandaria also has a huge following. There's even Legion private servers, but from the early free or the base free, however you want to call it, Vanilla, TBC, and Wrath of the Lich King, there are a lot of people that really want to preserve these because they are so unique in their own ways. I find this really amazing. It's also, I think this is important from preservation point of view. What I find is a shame is that gaming companies or companies in general tend to not respect their own legacy. Like, I think you always can see this, that a base game, for example, you can't buy the base games of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2 and 3 on PC like they were. Of course, there are console versions and then there are HD remakes, but you can't really buy the original ones anymore on Steam, or the original Resident Evil games like 1, 2 and 3. I find this really a shame because there are still people that love these games. Same for World of Warcraft, of course, the base game and the expansions, and they don't really preserve them that well. That is really unfortunate, and that's why I think the emulation scene or the private server scene will always play a part in preserving these things and presenting them to you, and I find it really amazing. The emulation scene is really working hard, for example, for remangos, that we get newer stuff like normalization, negative spell resistances. I think there are people actually working on the original Alterac Valley map and stuff like this. This is just amazing, just out of passion, you know, because for the love of the game. And these companies just don't do that. They see it just as a business model, and the art from these games, the whole package, the art form just gets perverted and forgotten pretty much. So that's what I really like about this scene. Like I mentioned, you can get unique experiences that never have been there before. You can get really close emulations on how the actual game was, and you can pretty much find a server for every expansion you want. Of course, could be a little bit hit or miss on how they are run or how many people that are playing there, but there are options out there. This is also a part where Blizzard can actually learn a lot from the private server scene. Like, for example, the general love and passion that is put into that, like the understanding what makes these expansions or this game, World of Warcraft in general, so lovable and so something special. And another thing they could also learn is that game masters are actually important. They are really important. It makes me just happy if you have a problem, you contact a GM and the GM comes and shows himself and gets things done. I find this really amazing. This is amazing customer service, and Blizzard could really learn a lot from that. Then the other part are actually patch cycles and stuff like normalization, progressive itemization, negative spell resistances from vanilla World of Warcraft I'm talking here. The early stages. That would be really amazing if something like that could happen. And another big thing for private servers is that you actually have one server, depends on the project of course, but you have a server and everyone around the world can play together. I think, isn't this the biggest thing of World of Warcraft, that we come together, enjoy things together and have fun together, even if it's just PvP battling each other. But I think this is something Blizzard can also learn from. It's really strange that I have an international server and I get better ping than on an actual server from Blizzard. That is a bit sad, I think, and this needs to be improved, especially with the whole thing. I want to play with my American friends, you know, and you can't do this on official World of Warcraft servers. You would need to make another account. Depending on that, you would need another sub, and then you can't play with your EU friends again. So that is just sad. Yeah, and I would say that's pretty much the point where I get to what I don't like about the private server scene. There's unfortunately a lot of infighting. Chromiecraft, I will leave a link in the description, has a video about this as well, where private servers pretty much claimed I built this, and that's not completely true, because like almost always a core is taken. For example, Mangus, there's Mangus, Azeroth core, Trinity core, stuff like that. And these are pretty much emulators where a lot of people worked for free on them for the passion and pretty much made it happen. And you take then this core, and of course there are servers that then develop their own fixes or their own twists on top of that, and I find that pretty cool. But what often seems to happen, that these changes just get lost and they don't share them, and I think that this would be really important to do so, especially if you take the work from others and then you just don't share the ones that you put on top of that. I think this should change. This would make the whole scene better. It would also make it easier to actually get a project started. What I also don't like is, the infighting also accumulates pretty much to that other projects get then DDoSed from other projects, or even from the just community members, or they get just sabotaged in form of bad publicity, like people join the Discord and just spam the N-word or make it look like that the other project is run by a bunch of racists or something like that. That is really a shame. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be a thing. Then there's, of course, you can read this, or sometimes you see this in video form, where a lot of shady things happen behind closed doors. That is also a big thing, what I think holds the whole scene back like crazy, that you can't really trust people there, that people sell gold in the background, or they make place for actually gold sellers and get bribes and stuff like this. I think this just hurts the scene in general. What I would like to see there is more openness and more transparency. Like, be open with people, show how you work on things, what is done. And I believe if you do something for the community or you work on such a project, I truly believe you deserve some kind of reward. And what I would like to see is if these projects just would take donations, or have a small shop, or maybe have a subscribe store or a Patreon, get an artist involved, sell some art, maybe sell even music. For example, Turtle WoW released, I think, their new made music for the custom areas on Spotify and stuff like this. And I think this should be the way that you get something back. I understand there's a lot of time, love and effort put into these things, and you can't survive just on love and air, so alone. I completely understand this, but this shady behavior needs to go, I think, for the betterment for the community. Also, what pretty much needs to go is this whole mentality with, just jumping from new fresh to new fresh. I mean, if you just enjoy the early stages of a server, I completely understand this. You do you. But I think actually sticking around with a server would also be important. Of course, you can play and choose whatever you want, but just random hopping for no reason. If there's a good reason, then of course I completely understand this. But this is just something I find a bit sad. I would love that this could get better or change better. I don't know what I can do about it besides talking about what I would like to see. If you have some ideas, let me know in the comments. A bit of a short video, more opinionated. Let me know how you liked it. Other than that, like, comment and subscribe. Dislike it if you disliked it. Having said that, have a nice day, guys, and stay safe out there. Bye bye. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a nice day, guys. Stay safe out there. Vincent out. Bye bye.